Yo, what's happening people? I'm Era from EraTheProducer.com and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I make dark melodies similar to those of Pvlace and Southside. If you're new to the channel then do me a favour and hit that subscribe button and click the bell next to it too so you'll never miss out on an upload. Now with all that said, let's get some loops made.
Era on the track.
The first instrument that I've chose is a bell from Analog Lab. I'm going to use this to lay down a nice simple melody because I find the more notes and chords you start adding is going to make the sample sound a lot more melodic. I'm currently working in E minor and one thing I'm going to do is focus a lot on these half step intervals. This is a really easy way to get that dark feel without having to think about things too much. To start this melody off I'm going to be laying down some 2-note chords which are also known as dyads. So now I'm going to go ahead and just start penciling in a melody. Now I'm just going to press Ctrl and A and Ctrl and L to stretch all of these notes out into each other. What I'm going to do now is come in on top of this with a nice simple counter melody, and again I'm going to be using those half step intervals to keep things dark. So I like the way this sounds at the moment, but I can make this sound even darker with the help of some effects. The first thing I'm going to add is a few shapers from Shaperbox, and the first one I'm going to be using is the time shaper. A lot of dark loops are going to have that halftime effect. To get the halftime effect inside Shaperbox, you want to make sure that you've got this pen tool selected, and from here you can draw a line from the top to the middle. You can then change the length setting, and this is going to determine how long each cycle is. I usually like to set this to half a bar. The next shaper that I'm going to add is a volume shaper, and I'm going to use this to draw a sidechain curve that's going to follow that same half a bar rhythm. To do this you want to make sure that you've got the S-curve tool selected, and I'm just going to draw a line that starts at the bottom and ends at the top. And once I've done this you're going to hear a sort of sidechain effect. So one thing I need to change is the end of this because I can hear a slight clipping sound, so I'm just going to draw a curve that goes back from the top to the bottom. Next I'm just going to use the shaper mix to dial it down a little bit. So next I've got an instance of Anna 2 and I've chose the Lo-Fi Piano 2 preset. All I'm going to do here is copy the melody that I've just put down and bring it straight into Anna, but I'm going to take out all of these top notes. Next I'm going to take all of these notes and shift them up by an octave, and then I'm going to be adding Shaperbox to this too. Again, the first thing I'm going to add to this is a time shaper, and I'm going to use this to create the halftime effect. This time I'm going to leave the length on a bar so there's two separate rhythms going on. Next I'm going to add the filter shaper, and I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the volume shaper by drawing in a sidechain curve. Now I can hear some muddy frequencies in the low end, so the next thing I'm going to do is EQ this. And the last thing I'm going to add to this layer is a reverb, and for this I've gone to the Rev Intensity plugin. The preset I'm using for this is called Auto Filtered, and this is using an LFO, which is also going to add some extra movement to this layer. Now for the counter melody, I've come back into Analog Lab, and the preset that I've chose is called Guitars. With this instrument, I'm just going to create a bit more of a complex counter melody, but again, I'm going to be using these semitone intervals to make sure that everything stays dark. Now to this layer, I'm going to be adding guitar rig, and as always, I'm using the vocal space preset. Next, I just want to EQ this to make sure that none of the frequencies are clashing with each other. Then again, I'm using the Rev Intensity reverb, and this time I've chose the Duct Verb preset. The last thing I'm going to add to this sample is the LA Grand Piano from Keyscape, and I'm going to be using this to introduce some lower frequencies. And for this layer, I'm literally just going to be taking the root notes from the chord progressions and pitching them down an octave. So I actually think I'm going to just shift these back up, and then I'm going to use Shaper Box again to create that halftime effect. So once I've finished making my melodies, one thing that I like to do is experiment with the pitch. And for this, I almost always use the wave sound shifter because it does the job with pitching up and down, but it also introduces some nice analog sounds. Another thing I always do when I'm making melody loops is throw in some drums so I can hear how it would sound as a full beat. So let's take a listen to how this one sounds. And yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of this video. Let me know how you think this loop turned out in the comments below. If you like this video or if you learned anything new from it, then make sure to smash the thumbs up before you leave. And if you're new to the channel, then do me a favour and hit that subscribe button too. If you'd like to learn how I level my beats, then I'll leave a video for that up here. And if you still haven't entered my 1K giveaway, then I'll leave a video with all the details for that down here. Big shout out to anybody that's still here at the end of the video. I've been Era, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you all in the next one.